Thanks everyone for joining us. This is my first inaugural, actually, sit down with marketing experts and business experts, and hopefully making this into a longer series. So today, I want to warmly welcome Erwin Howe, who is the director of Chromatics, which is a successful award-winning digital agency, and also a new venture called Conversion Cow, which I've been using, and I must say it's a Martech SaaS tool, which is like a, for lack of a better word, landing page smashed together with lead generating pop-ups, and I think it's really good. So thank you very much, Win, for joining, for coming on board for this session, and congratulations for checking
Thank
out
you,
your
my friend.
dream of podcasting with Jason Schwenk.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Yeah, it was a very good one, but it was 5 a.m. when we actually did it. So for me, it was late for him, but oh man, it was worth the wait. So yeah,
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that podcast.
mm.
All
Should be
right.
good. Should be good.
Okay, so let's get into it. So I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, you've been running your business, and you've been doing digital marketing for a long time now, close to a
Mm,
decade or more. So
mm.
what are the marketing challenges you face personally in your businesses?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest challenge I faced at the very beginning is actually the difference between traffic and conversion. Everyone seems to think that uh, if you do your SEO, you've got to get leads. Or if you build a website, people will find you. Um, and that there's some magic one bullet. And I think that there's a misnomer and a bit of a misconception that one thing does everything. It's actually the sum of those 1%ers together that actually make up and make it really successful. So we always say that traffic times conversion rate equals customers. And so you've got to work on ways to get people to you, but then you need to be able to convince them to one, get their attention, that awareness, then push them all the way to action. And I think it's the sum of all of that together which makes marketing successful. But unfortunately, the issue, maybe for customers or me, actually, come to think about it, is um, customers sometimes confuse the two together, or they kind of say one sentence assuming that it's one thing. So it would make me a website that's going to be on the first page of Google. Well, whoa, 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 whoa. You just talked about two things: web design and being found on Google, two separate things in converting. But the problem that I faced actually is, and where Conversion Cow, my software, came in, was I was getting a lot of traffic to my website. Being a professional services business, similar to tradies, if there's any tradies listening, or even other professional service companies listening, we have our websites on the net all the time. People are checking it out all the time. May you realize that or not. And for those who don't believe me, who are listening, who go, no, no one ever goes to my website. I do know marketing, Erwin. My simple test is this: shut it down for a month. Just take it down then. You say you don't use it. Oh, but Erwin, oh no, people look for my phone number. Oh, I don't run ads, but I might have a CCAD instead. So it's maybe not sales, but it's for HR. You're recruiting people. Sometimes it's just a validation check. It's not like a quick buy, but it's just, oh, I just want to see if this Francis person's real. Let me just go to his website, www, and away we go. And so it's making sure that people understand traffic times conversion rate equals customers. But for me, I realized I was getting a lot of traffic, but I wasn't converting as well. And so that was a problem I went through. And that's why I created Conversion Calc to solve that problem, which has really helped us dramatically. So,
I think every business goes through that issue, having traffic but not converting. How do you manage
mm.
to make that traffic into a conversion?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really simple if you think about it. There's only four questions people think of, assuming that they've already come to you. Okay. So, say I've just met you for the first time. There's only four things that go through my mind that address a certain problem I have. So, obviously, if I found you, I have a problem that I need solving. But there's only really four questions: who are you? What do you do? Why should I choose you? How do I get in touch with you? They're the only four kind of core questions that sum everything up. And obviously, this is all packaged with nice design, nice content, great layout, all that kind of stuff, beautiful imagery, videography, and typography. But they're the four key things at the heart of it. Who are you? What do you do? Why should I choose you? and how to get in touch with you. And if you don't believe me, it's actually the same 4 things I actually asked my missus 17 years ago when we got married to get the next date.
Yep.
They're natural human psychology points. Who are you? What do you do? Why should you? Maybe how do we not get married, but how do we get to that second date? Which is that appointment, that first step. When you're swiping left or right. I don't know how the Tinder people do it nowadays, but you know what I mean,
Yep.
right? So that's it. Yeah.
So what's your tip on getting? I mean, it's easy to obviously someone looking for you would have found your website because obviously they need something from a service and you provide that service. Now the third question, why should they choose you? How do you answer that question?
Yeah. Why should you choose it? I mean, of the 4, the first one's more to do with emotion. The second, third, and fourth are more to do with the first one's more the heart. That's what I call the heart. The second, third, and fourth is actually more to do with the head. And why? Especially that third one. Why choose you? Why is it so important? Do you know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yep.
If you actually look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it talks about at the very core, at the bottom, it's more to do with life, survival, that sort of thing. That's our base need in life. The second level is actually called safety and security. So no matter what we do in life, essentially, it's always like I'm always like this. I'm putting my guard up in everything I do. And now, unless you can lower that guard, I'm not going to do anything because safety and security come up. And so, why should I choose you? Social proof is the biggest and most important thing when it comes to lowering that guard, but helping people to cross through. Because once I know who you are, what you do, you know what? I don't know if I trust you. And so, what kind of trust signals? Awards, accreditations, associations, case studies, testimonials, ISO logos, whatever those things are so important. And there's so many great mediums to display it, maybe through images, through text. But the one I always push and I say is most important is actually through video, because they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. Video speaks, I think, 8.4 million, or I don't know how many colors there are, but it's so much more. And you can convey so much. I mean, there's a reason why this podcast is in video form, not just a text-based thing, because there's emotion expressed in visual, hierarchy, cues, as well as audio and stuff. So it's that combination. And you can get a lot of information in a very concise, short amount of time as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good you bring up video. Obviously, that's what I do as well. You mentioned that the first one is more emotion. Do you feel that with the third question, why should I choose you, there's also a very emotional aspect to it, in that you kind of want to be able, you mentioned trust, you mentioned credibility. Wouldn't that also play into emotions as well? It's like, oh yeah, I think I can trust you, I think I like you.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, right? Kind of like when you label someone, are you an introvert or you're extrovert? It's not that if you're an introvert, you have no extrovert in you or vice versa. There's always got to be a blend of the two together. And it really actually doesn't really matter which way or the other. The real heart behind it is you need both. And so for some industries, the social proof will be more into the rational side. So say, for example, to do with data, results, finances, numbers. There's nothing really emotional. It's just really A is A, B is B. Did A get B? And if it did, this is the increase of ROI and growth. On the other hand, it's sometimes like, no, we saw a change in someone. We went from a crappy house to the most beautiful mansion that, and so that will engage both sides. And so the fight between the two isn't like which is better, rational or emotional. It's rational and emotional, but we need to know which areas we're going to put. So a video might not speak as loudly if we're talking to data scientists who just wants the stats and the data. But say for if you're selling like commercial property or something that's a bit more visual, man, those emotional bits in the video would really just sing beautifully. So yeah.
Okay, you also mentioned this thing about the 1% doing a bit, the 1% of everything that adds up, which is something I'm not sure whether you got it from the Atomic Habits book by James Clear, which is pretty much what he's saying, right? If you just improve 1% for everything,
100%.
you get 100% eventually. So
Yeah.
with marketing, what are the 1% that you personally, and when you see other businesses do their marketing, what are all these 1%
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
should focus on?
Yeah, for sure. So firstly, the 1% is taken from that book and stuff, but it's the whole notion of, for those who don't know and stuff, it's never about perfection. It's about progression. It's about, and I heard it somewhere once. Someone said it's about ready, steady, go. No, no, it's ready, go, and then let's steady things out, because else you'll never move sometimes. And so let's go for those 1%. Let's get better in everything we do. So what are the 1%ers? Well, before we talked about traffic times conversion rate equals customers. So to me, the 1%ers are, what are we doing in the traffic side of trying to get people to us? When we look at different types of traffic, it could be inbound, outbound, referral partners. What are little things that we can do on all of these bits that can help facilitate people coming to you? So if you want to do some brand awareness stuff, maybe the 1% is like, hey, just do a little bit more content, refining the way you write, reviewing, engaging more with other people's social posts, building more backlinks, writing, doing more guest posting, optimizing your AdWords, looking at your account. It's just spending that little bit of time on doing things that change the levers that that have a bigger impact. So that's on the traffic side. On the conversion side, my favorite side, the conversion side, is what can we do to increase the likability, the trusting, the knowing side of things? Are we A/B testing? Are we testing different messages, call to actions, methods of contact? And so that's why with our Conversion Cow tool, we have built into our software A/B testing that allows us to check, try. Maybe an image gets you more. Maybe it's more heart than head or head than heart. We don't know. And so it's these little tests and stuff. But please don't stop at the SEO, AdWords, social to website level. Conversion is, how about 1% better on the phone calls? 1% better on the proposals? 1% at the meeting presentations, all the way through. And so it's these little refinements all the way through, which is what I think a business coach actually does. They sit down with you and just go, what are the 1%ers that can change through the whole process? Just break it down. And if you're wondering, wow, Erwin, you haven't even talked about fulfillment yet. You're just talking about how to get a customer, and we're feeling overwhelmed, or whoever's listening feels a bit overwhelmed. It's the same question as, how do I eat an elephant? One bite at a time. To start chomping. You'll get there, and it's always painful at the start. But I promise you, like the first time you go to the gym and you leave and you're in absolute pain the next day, it only gets easier and it only gets better. Just start chomping. So, yeah, that's the 1% in my eyes. Yeah.